Welcome to Cody in the Cinema. Today I'm discussing Criterion movies that I believe make great watches when it's cold, snowy, windy, or a holiday special. And I have two honorable mentions that have at least an instance of snow and fun that I thought were worth bringing up. One of them is the Akira Kurosawa's Dreams, which I've talked about as being one of the most visually spectacular movies I've ever seen. And there is a sequence where some people are stuck in snow. And so if you only wanted to watch, say, 15 minutes or so, however long that short is, you could do that because these are just little vignettes that Kurosawa put together, so you don't necessarily have to watch all of them together. And that would be a great little snowy watch. But like the whole movie isn't snowy. And another one that I wanted to bring up was Black Narcissus, one of the other visually sublime movies I'm going to mention. Snow looks so pretty, especially when Criterion presents us with movies with snow. This is a film about a group of nuns who are in the Himalayas and they're trying to survive. And one of my favorite scenes in this movie is this scene with some Christmas music being sung, and there's some snow outside and some awkward things happen with a drunk gentleman. But if you were to watch this on a snowy day, I think that one scene would work really well for you. And it's cold in other parts for sure, but I just wanted to throw that out there as an honorable mention. So those are two you might want to check out, but the ones I'm about to share are the ones that have that cold theme sort of cohesively throughout. And one of my very first early Criterions that I ever picked up, I've seen this 4 or 5 times. I'm actually thinking about watching the whole thing again, and I showed this to my wife a few years ago, and she was like so impressed with how neat this was. In Nanook of the North, when all these people climb out of, I think it's like a canoe, and you're like, wait, they just keep coming because it's such an interesting little story. This is an Inuit hunter, and his life struggling in the harshness of winter. It's a little like. This is the line between fiction and reality is blurred sometimes, but it doesn't make it any less impressive. And I would highly encourage you, if you have seen the film or if you do see it, to read Roger Ebert's review, because this just has so many different individually impressive pieces of like stunt work. But if you can call it stunt work, right? Because this is real life basically being shot. And again, in those early silent films, sometimes narrative fiction and reality were so blurred that it doesn't matter too much, right? And this is just a fascinating little documentary that you have to see if you haven't. And I've kept my DVD copy all these years, and I just really love it. Another one that I thought of, Quentin Tarantino, what was it, the Kill Bill movies, heavily inspired by Lady Snowblood. And I wanted to show you the poster and the back of it if you've never seen it, because it's awesome. And I hadn't actually unfolded the poster in a long time, but it's just a beautiful film. The blood on the snow in this film is really incredible. And to tell you what it's about, let me just read you a poem, okay, from the back of this thing. The morning has died. Now this is directly from the back of the poster, the like insert that comes with it. The morning has died, and the snow falls in mourning, a stray dog howls. And her gate a clatter beneath her feet, she bears the weight of karma as she walks gazing straight ahead, embracing the darkness. With her umbrella sword, she walks the path, dividing life and death. And that's sort of the plot of this film. It is a really fun revenge flick. It's also just like, it's insanely violent. And it's better than the Kill Bill movies, I think, anyway. Definitely something you should experience. Like, it's called Lady Snowblood, okay? I mean, how do you not want to watch a movie called Lady Snowblood? But I thought that was worth throwing out there. Again, if you're familiar with Kill Bill, probably enjoy that. I always like to plug McCabe and Mrs. Miller when I'm talking about Westerns or snow movies. This is a very snowy little town that Warren Beatty comes to try to start some gambling and so forth, and he's joined soon by Julie Christie. They have an interesting relationship. He's always drunk, things are cold, dark, and it does feature a great small performance from John Carradine as well. I believe this got a 4K not too long ago, and just a terrific picture all around with one of the best interior bar scenes I've seen in a Western. So, McCabe and Mrs. Miller, you have to see it. I have a VHS back there somewhere as well, hiding behind Bergman here. I'm going to be talking about one of his films in a second. So, McCabe and Mrs. Miller does have a really good snowy little Western town there that makes for a good snow day watch. Okay. Another one, and I don't, I have Andrei Rublev up there, the Tarkovsky film, staring right at me in my collection, but I talk about it so much that I thought I'd give another one of Tarkovsky's great movies a chance here. Let's talk about Ivan's childhood, okay? This is, according to the back, a poetic journey through the shards and shadows of one boy's ravaged youth, and there is plenty of cold and darkness, and this is a little bit better on a somber day when you want to feel something more meditative. Maybe you're home alone and you just want to kind of feel those deep, dark, wintry emotions. I would encourage you to watch this. I have a whole video where I ranked all the Tarkovsky movies, and I do put this a little lower than some of the others, but it is great. All of Tarkovsky's movies are great. He was a great director. And anytime I'm feeling that meditation, that mood to sit and just be with a piece of art in motion pictures, like this is the kind of film I want to see. If you haven't seen this, it took me this is the last Tarkovsky I watched, and to complete his feature films, but definitely see it. It's a great film. So another good one for the cold there. I think I have 2 more recommendations, 3 more actually. So I did put Bergman up here because I have my giant booklet out, and the page that I'm going to read from has a still picture, this beautiful black and white, unbelievably good movie called Winter Light. This is the second in an informal trilogy, I believe. It's the only one of those I've seen, but just to kind of give you a little bit of a plot synopsis, the action takes place on a single Sunday, beginning with one church service and ending with another, and inconsolable doubts plague a minister named after the disciple who needed physical evidence of the risen Christ, and those doubts the essay here explains, they infect the entire atmosphere. And what I found so striking about Winter Light, not only just the cold, brooding winter, and of course Bergman, like you can imagine how good that would be, but I really loved how shameless of a gaslighter that preacher was. He's such a victim. He's so frustrating to watch because he really does abuse his powers in so many ways. And so it's a great commentary on religion, and it kind of might make you feel like sitting in a really stuffy church that does not have a good pastor or is not well organized. If you're into that kind of thing, you might like that. The next one, a little bit lighter of the mood here. I've been rewatching this again, and it's kind of a comedy. There's some dramatic, sad parts for sure, but Chilly Scenes of Winter is, in my opinion, one of the most underrated comedies I've ever seen, and I will plug it constantly on my channel here when I can. John Hurt, the Home Alone dad, one of our great actors, rest in peace there. He is kind of recalling his time with this woman he used to have a relationship with when she was still married, even though she was separated, and how that kind of hasn't worked out long term, and it is all happening with Winter all around. Just good black comedy in there. He likes to make fun of himself a little bit in the situation. His comic timing is so good. Just so good. John Hurd's comic timing. I may have said John Hurt. I meant John Hurd if I did, but it's the tension that whenever all of his lovers' worlds kind of collide is really good, and you have some good snowy scenes in there as well. Definitely check it out if you haven't. If you thought this might be a weak comedy, it's not. It's really, really cool. And one more I wanted to talk a little bit about that kind of inspired this entire video. For me, the best kind of Criterion to put on when it's cold and when it's snowy is something that can completely envelop you sort of cinematically, the way that snow can take you emotionally and so forth, and just wrap you up in it. And what is the ultimate movie that's not called Andrei Rublev that does that? That would be Marketa Lazarova. This is a Czech film, and a lot of people will say it's the greatest. It's my favorite, besides Daisy's probably. And it's kind of these factions, these bandit factions are warring at a time when there's sort of a transition between paganism and Christianity. And I've only seen this all the way through one time. I will be honest with you. It's a long movie. It's kind of challenging to get through in some ways, but it is one of the most breathtakingly beautiful snowy movies I've ever seen. There is a shot I've watched countless times of these wolves in the early part of the film running across the snow, and you have that, like, I don't remember if it's like Gregorian chants or what it is, but there's some kind of just haunting religious music that kind of rings in the back of your mind and makes you feel scared and kind of captivated and sort of reverent all at the same time. And this is a beautiful film in that way. And I was watching a few scenes of it. I'll probably go back. The next time we get a good snow, I will sit down and I will watch this, similar to how I might do with The Shining, okay? So it is worth your time. It's just, I mean, I bought the DVD. This was whenever Barnes & Noble was still selling a lot of like DVDs versus Blu-rays. And I wanted it so bad at that time that I bought the DVD, even though I had a Blu-ray player. I mean, I was really into it. And actually, the wolf scene is actually right, kind of referenced on the cover there. But it's a terrific, beautiful film. Especially if you liked Andrei Rublev. I think Andrei Rublev's a little bit better of a film, but they're both really good. So go see it, if you haven't. Those are my recommendations that I think you might enjoy on a snowy or cold day. If you did like the content here, if you want to do me a favor, help grow the channel, click the like button. Like buttons do grow YouTube channels. What films have you seen from the collection, because I left some out, I know, that you think are perfect for a cold or snowy or windy day? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you, and we'll see you next time on Cody in the Cinema.